have a free toll call center that is indicated there. We also have a chargeable line, which is not free toll, but they are both indicated.
The election exercise that we are already in. And I would like to begin by noting that the overall security situation in the country remains stable, with security agencies maintaining firm control over public order and territorial integrity. I'll just briefly mention the mandate and legal framework of the Uganda Police Force. We are mandated by the Constitution to secure the electoral process grounded in the Constitution of Uganda 1995, which mandates the police to preserve law and order and protect the rights of citizens. This duty is operationalized through the Police Act, Chapter 324, the Electoral Commission Act, Chapter 176, and Elections Regulations, which together provide the legal and institutional framework for enforcing the mandate of the electoral security. In fulfilling this role, the Uganda Police Force operates under clear rules of engagement, guided by the principles of proportionality, legality, accountability, neutrality, and non-discriminatory. And during this exercise, we have the following strategic security objectives. Our role is to preserve nationwide peace and public order, rapidly contain electoral violence and intimidation, safeguard electoral infrastructure and digital systems, guarantee safe participation for all stakeholders, strengthen public trust and institutional legitimacy, and within this environment, we are also conscious and alive to the possible threats in as far as security is concerned, which we are prepared for. One of them is terrorism. The other one is electoral violence at rallies, polling stations, centers and other centers and the other tallying centers. The other one is incitement to violence, mis or disinformation, media propaganda, criminal activities generally, accidents and emergencies. We have a deployment strategy and seriously emphasized that the Uganda Police Force is the lead agency supported by sister security agencies. We have visible presence of personnel, and we shall continue to have them at all the polling stations. We have interagency coordination for purposes of intelligence gathering and sharing. And we have already established rapid response and reserve forces for immediate intervention. We also have focus on hotspot areas with history of electoral tension. We continue to have community engagement and sensitization to promote peace. Then we are also involving technology into the integration for real-time monitoring and communication. Our other tasks include securing, escorting, and protection of electro materials. We are also tasked with controlling access and perimeter security at all tele centers. And within this, we keep emphasizing the clear rules of engagement and the use of force. We are regularly documenting and reviewing incidents for accountability. That is, we have already been doing that, but we continue. And what is mainly at stake is the coming elections, which will begin on 15th, and we are also preparing for that. We are also continuing with the deployments during tallying. We shall also continue the deployments during tallying and results declaration. We shall also continue to enforce lawful management of demonstrations and disputes. And then we'll also continue to give information to the public in order to build confidence and transparency. Particularly on the polling day, is strictly preventive and non-intrusive. We are alive to the fact that ours is to provide an enabling environment so that the activity can go on. Our primary responsibility will be to secure the outer perimeter of the polling stations, protecting polling officials, voters, and electoral materials in order to ensure a safe environment. And maybe allow me to add, to protect all the people living within the general environment. Security shall also support crowd management and access control, helping voters move in and out of polling stations in an orderly manner. In the event of any breach, disturbance, or disorder, security forces shall respond promptly to restore calm and safety, with all arrests made lawfully and only when absolutely necessary in accordance with the law. Our other cardinal duty, just for emphasis, is the protection of electoral materials and results. And we are conscious that this is a critical element where the Electoral Commission is depending on us. And on our part, sensitive electoral materials shall be securely escorted from security facilities, storage facilities, polling stations, onward to tally centers, and during any other authorized movement. We also observe that the security of tally centers is a very big priority during this exercise. Any security incident will be addressed promptly and lawfully, with full respect for the integrity of the results, while maintaining civility, neutrality, and professionalism. In the area of post-voting security, our efforts will be on stabilization of these polling areas by maintaining visible deployments until official results are announced. We are also prioritizing hotspot areas identified in pre-election threat assessment, and we shall continue to conduct joint patrols where intelligence indicates potential escalation. On the protection of electoral materials and officials, we shall secure the tally centers with layered access control protocols to ensure that those who are legally allowed to access will be able to access. We shall escort all the movement of DR forms to the tally centers to ensure that the processes are properly protected. We shall also strategically position our public order management units in case there are situations which require our intervention to keep law and order. We will continue, and we are continuing to monitor and counter misinformation and disinformation likely to cause unrests, and we continue to support legal mechanisms for dispute resolution. In conclusion, the Uganda Police Force reaffirms its unwavering commitment to ensuring peaceful and secure environment for elections. We therefore call for continued collaboration and vigilance from all stakeholders to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process and to strengthen public confidence in democracy. And we are determined, working together with all stakeholders, to exercise civility and responsibility. The Uganda Police Force appreciates the vital role of the election observers and other stakeholders in promoting transparency and accountability. We wish you a successful engagement in this very critical activity in our democracy. Hopefully, after the elections, you will spare time to explore the beauty of the Pearl of Africa. I thank you very much.
Is on denominated candidates, but there are those who have voluntarily withdrawn from the race and notified the commission as the law permits. And yet, the ballot papers are already out, they're being printed. The law provides that where such a scenario occurs, then the commission must ensure the voters are adequately notified at the polling station. First of all, we put up a notice at every polling station indicating that candidate so and so has withdrawn from the race or has been denominated, is no longer a candidate, and therefore don't give your vote to that candidate. That is one measure. The other one is, which I've also seen in practice during by-elections, the presiding officer, when he or she is handing over the ballot paper to the voter, also adds his or her voice, that candidate so-and-so is no longer in this race. So don't cast or give him or her your vote. It will be a wasted vote. So those are the two measures we apply. I don't know whether we also do radio announcements. Do we? No, we don't. The issue is to inform or to notify the voters in that electoral area where the candidate was nominated to contest. So, notice at the polling station, and then a word or a caution by the presiding officer as to the voters. There's, I think we are always cautious on the role, the accessibility by persons with disabilities to polling stations and their involvement in electoral processes. We are always cautious of that. And that's why I think the law provides for specific or special elections for persons with disabilities. And as a commission, we endeavor as much as possible to include these people in our programs, in our processes, and in whatever we do. Now, invalid votes. Indeed, as Mr. Byonabye from the Uganda Human Rights Commission has observed, this is a matter of great concern to us. As he has said, you find the number of invalid votes are far more or higher than what some candidates even score as valid votes. Now, in this, there are two things. One, there are some people who deliberately render their vote invalid because the law says there are two recognized marks of voting, either tick or a thumbprint. But someone gets a ballot paper and writes, "My man," "our man." And this is an informed fellow. He's literate. He's writing, "our man," "our woman." Or he ticks the candidate of his or her choice, then puts a cross on the others. So he knew what he was doing, but others, they get a ballot paper, put it in without even putting a mark. It's deliberate. All these are deliberate or intentional processes. But in this training, we have also emphasized in the training of our polling officials, particularly the presiding officers, we have emphasized the aspect of when in law does a vote or a ballot become invalid. There are on occasions where the voter puts the tick or the thumbprint in the box bearing the photograph or the picture of the candidate, or the symbol, or the name, and not in the designated box where the tick is supposed to be. And some presiding officers, we understand, have been declaring this invalid. And yet the law is very clear that a vote is not invalid for reason on account of the mark not being placed in the prescribed area or space. If the voter puts the mark or the thumbprint on the picture of the candidate, or the symbol, or the name, the law says the intention of the voter can clearly be discerned that he or she intended to vote for this candidate. It's not invalid. So the aspect, the emphasis on training, I've talked to my field officers and they have told me they've emphasized this aspect, that they should not render or declare a ballot paper invalid simply because the person did not put the mark in the designated space. But also, from what we have observed, because as I said, my colleagues and I, during by-elections, we've been in the field. The crowd of people around seem to overwhelm at times the officials managing the process of counting. Our process here is so transparent. I don't know whether it happens in other countries. The presiding officer gets the ballot paper and shows it to everybody. Then the people around they shout, "Oh, that is invalid," in a local language. Kafu. Kafu. Invalid. Now, because it is a crowd, the raucous is so high, at times the presiding officer gets it. I was there. I was around one time. I think I was at one of the polling stations in one of the by-elections somewhere. It was a rural constituency. I happened to be around during counting. The voter had placed the tick outside the margin of the box where the tick should be. This is the box where the tick should be. The tick was outside the box. The crowd shouted, "Kafu!" I said, even though it is placed outside the box, but you can see it is within the line of the box, but outside the box. So really, the intention can be discerned. So, but that's when the presiding officer gained some courage and said, oh yes. But the noise, the voices of the people around had intimidated him. So that's why we are saying we need to have some kind of control on who should be around the polling station. That's what we are saying, and we have tried to explain this. When we say, I think it is better for people when they have voted, although the law allows them to keep around, first give space for other voters to come. Leave a peaceful process to take place. Just leave. Because the issue of invalid votes is not because all of them are actually invalid. So we have emphasized that point in our training programs, that the law provides as long as the intention of the voter can be understood or discerned, even though the mark is not placed in the right space or box, that is not an invalid box. Thank you, Mr. Vionabie. We shall again emphasize it over these remaining few days so that on 15th, the presiding officer, should be in position to distinguish between what is actually invalid vote. The invalid vote is where the tick crosses from one box to another. That is clearly invalid. From one box of this candidate to another box, that is invalid. Or the thumbprint somehow crosses from one box to another. Then you can't tell the intention of the voter. Was he voting for this candidate, the one below, or the one up? That one is different. Now, the register, the voters register, the law provides that every candidate or political party which has presented candidates be given the polling register. And this polling register, the candidate or the party is supposed to produce more copies or photocopy the register relevant for that particular polling station and give their agents a copy of the register for that polling station to enable the agents in the process of identifying and verifying voters to do so. The other polling register is with the presiding officer, who has it at that table, and in the event that the voter has not come with the national ID or voter allocation slip, which have a barcode, which is supposed to be scanned by this kit or machine, but the person is registered